If you have an older car and a rugged phone or even a regular smartphone, then this video is for you. Because if you have an older car, then it's probably missing one of these. An in-vehicle infotainment system. Which is a bummer because it lets you do things like use GPS, play music, take hands-free phone calls, and more. Now, you could buy your own infotainment system, but installing it involves things like disconnecting the car battery, pulling out the dashboard, and lots of other stuff that most people don't know how to do or don't want to do. And that is what this device is for. It is the Carpuride 7-inch smart display, and it takes less than 5 minutes to install in your car. It lets you use wireless and wired Apple CarPlay and Android Auto in any car that has a cigarette lighter. You can also mirror your iPhone or Android to the screen as well with Apple AirPlay or AutoLink on Android. But is the Carpuride any good? Is it worth your hard-earned dollar? That is what we are going to find out in this video. And we are going to test it to see if you really can install it in just 5 minutes. Now, I will leave a link in the description below and a discount code that you can use to get 15% off when you buy this. And now let's get straight into this video. Unboxing. Big thank you to Carpuride for sending me this to review. Now first off, it comes in a nice solid box. It's got a 7-inch HD IPS LCD 1024 by 600 resolution touchscreen display that measures 7.48 inches wide by 4.3 inches tall. On the side, it's got a DC 12 to 24 volt 2.5 amp power supply that comes from your cigarette lighter, so it's compatible with cars and trucks. It's also got a 5 volt 2.1 amp USB port, so you can play media from a USB stick or use it to charge your cell phone. It's got a 3.5mm auxiliary output. It's got a 2.5mm camera input that you can use to connect a rear view backup camera. Now, I am reviewing the W707 model and it does not come with a backup cam, but they have another model called the 901 that does come with a rear view backup camera, and it's got a larger 9-inch screen. And I'll put a link in the description below to that if you would like to buy one of those. It's got a TF/micro SD card slot for playing media, and it's got a 3.5mm external mic port that you can use if you want to connect a microphone to it. But it also has a built-in internal mic that you use for voice control. It's got a built-in 8 ohm 2 watt speaker on the back, but you can also connect it directly to your car's stereo system, which I'll show you in a little bit. And it's got a light sensor on the back for auto screen brightness adjustment depending on the daylight. It comes with a suction bracket and a dash mount bracket, and I'll show you how those work right after the unboxing. It's got a cigarette lighter power supply, a nice aux cord, and instructions. So here is everything that it comes with. Now let's see if we really can install this thing in only 5 minutes. Installation. It comes with 2 kinds of brackets and 3 different ways to install it. The first bracket is the self-adhesive dash mount. It's got sticky tape on the bottom and you stick it to your dashboard like this. It's got 180-degree adjustment like this, and it's also got 360-degree adjustment like this. Now the second bracket is the suction cup. It also comes with an adhesive dashboard mount to sit on, but it worked best for me to just use the suction cup straight onto the dash. So you place it on your dashboard, then flip the switch down to engage the suction. It's got a telescoping arm that you can adjust, and you can also adjust the screen with this as well. Now the third way you can install it is to use the suction cup mount and place it on your windshield. Flip the switch to engage suction, and you can also adjust this up and down. Now Carpuride says that it only takes 5 minutes to install this thing, so let's put that to the test. Let's do a side-by-side comparison to see how long it takes me to install the Carpuride versus how long it takes Rob Pryor to install a standard infotainment head unit. Let's even give Rob a head start and let him disconnect his car battery before we even begin. And now let's start the clock. I'm gonna do this in front of you in real time with no edits. Now Rob's footage does have some edits, but it's pretty much real time. I'm going to use the suction cup and mount it straight to the dash. Step 1 is line up the mount with the 4 holes on the back of the display, then push it up to lock into place. Step 2, place the mount on the dashboard and flip the switch down to engage suction. Step 3, adjust the placement to where you want it, and remove the protective film. Step 4, take the power supply and plug it into the cigarette lighter. Then connect the other end to the display unit. Now my apologies here for the weird camera angle. And that is it. The unit is fully installed and ready to go in just over 1 minute. But Rob has just now removed the old radio unit, so he can actually now begin installing the new one. Now all I have to do is pair the Carpuride with my phone. For this, I will be using the rugged AGM G2 Guardian phone. I'm gonna hit screen record so you can see what I'm doing. And you can see there's a pairing request. So let's tap this and hit pair. Now for some reason the G2 Guardian says trouble connecting, but you can see on the Carpuride display it does recognize the G2 Guardian. And now we're connected. That's all there is to it. The Carpuride is installed, set up, and ready to go in 2 minutes 11 seconds. Now over on Rob's side, he's still got to drill a hole in the glove box to run cables through it, connect 5 more wires, put the head unit in place, route cables through the ventilation, reconnect the car battery, and more. Huge thank you to Rob Pryor for helping us with this illustration. So it looks like the Carpuride definitely is faster than a standard head unit installation, and in fact, it actually takes less time to install than Carpuride even says in their own marketing. And real quick, I need to mention that I never had that trouble connecting message pop up whenever I was pairing my phone off camera with the Carpuride. It was only when the camera was on that I did get that message. And as you can see, it actually did connect just fine. So I don't know what that was about, but I wanted to keep it in the video so you guys know that I'm not hiding anything. Custom boot screen. Now check this out. You might have noticed when I powered up the Carpuride display that it shows the Survival Superhero logo. That is because Carpuride has this cool thing where you can have the startup screen be whatever you want it to be. And how it works is you email them an image and then they send you back a file that you load onto a USB drive, and then you pop the USB drive into the Carpuride device, power it on, and now it will show your custom image whenever you power on the device. And you can remove the USB drive after that. Now you do need a high-speed USB drive that is no bigger than 32 gigabytes to do this. Now I will put a link in the description to the exact USB drive that I used if you want to grab one of those. Now let's get down to brass tacks here. What can you actually do with this thing? That depends a little bit on whether you have an iPhone or an Android, but they both function pretty similarly. So first, if you've got an iPhone, you can use CarPlay, which is referred to as iPlay on the Carpuride for copyright reasons, I assume, to use your phone, maps, messages, music, podcasts, and more third-party apps like WhatsApp and Spotify, all right here on the Carpuride display. Now, if you're using an Android like the rugged G2 Guardian that I am using, you will be using Android Auto. Android Auto also lets you use the Carpuride display to control your phone, messages, maps, etc., but you can actually use lots more third-party apps as well. So the way it works is, once you've paired your phone with the Carpuride, any compatible apps that you have installed on your phone will show up in the Android Auto or CarPlay on the Carpuride. Now, some of the most useful apps are Audible. It comes with game snacks, so you can play some simple games while you're parked. Google Maps, of course. Here's your phone messages. You can use Facebook Messenger, get Google News updates. You can use your phone, Pocket Casts and Google Podcasts, set a reminder. Police Scanner is a cool one. Skype, Spotify, Telegram, TuneIn Radio, VLC Media Player, Waze Navigation, Weather, WhatsApp, and YouTube Music. Now there's 3 ways you can listen. Let's try this bad boy out with YouTube Music. So there's 3 different ways you can do this. The first is to play it through the 8 ohm 2-watt speaker that's built into the back of the Carpuride. So let's see how that sounds with some royalty-free thrash metal that I've got queued up. It certainly is loud enough to hear it while you're driving. Now obviously there isn't much bass, but it's pretty good considering the small size of the speaker. You can tap over here to control the volume. Let's also try the police scanner so you can hear what speaking sounds like through the built-in speaker. Awesome! So the second way you can listen is through the aux cord. This is a super high quality and very sturdy aux cord that they've included with the Carpuride, and I highly appreciate that. So we'll plug one end into the Carpuride aux output, plug the other end into the aux input on the car stereo, and now we are ready to rock. So now it's coming through the car speakers and it sounds awesome. This is how you're going to get the best quality. Super rich and full bass, great mids, and nice high end. And you can blast it super loud while you're sitting in the library parking lot. Very cool. Now, the third way you can listen is through FM radio transmission. You pick one of these radio frequencies, then dial your FM radio to that station, and it will play wirelessly through your car stereo speakers. Now, it's not quite as loud and full as with the aux cord, so you can actually hear the built-in speaker playing right now. Let's turn that off and crank up the volume on the car stereo. And now it still sounds great. You just have to give it some more volume than with the aux cord. And here's what happens if someone calls you while you are rocking out. You can easily accept or decline the call. EQ. Here's a really cool feature. It's got a 16-band EQ with custom presets that you can also tweak manually for when you really need to blast tons of bass while you're sitting in the library parking lot. That is not a clock. Now, I also want to point this out because it confused me at first. This up here is not a clock. This is the amount of time that the unit has been running. And when you turn the car off, it resets to 0. And it does display the time in the bottom right. Now, how much data does it use to do this? Streaming music on YouTube uses about 1 megabyte of data per minute, or 60 megabytes per hour. And Google Maps uses about 0.67 megabytes per minute, or about 40 megabytes of data per hour. But if you don't want to use your data, then you can download music and offline maps to your phone and use it that way as well. Now let's try out the voice navigation. Just hit the microphone button and say where you want to go.
Directions to Aldi's.
And there you go. Now we are off to Aldi's. As you drive, it tells you where to go.
Alright, there's an Aldi 1 mile away. Want to navigate there?
Yes.
And if you get bored while you're driving, you can also say things like this.
Play a podcast.
And it will play a podcast or music while you're driving. Screen mirroring and phone charging. You can also mirror your phone screen so whatever you see on your phone shows up on the Carpuride device. You can do this wired or wirelessly if you have an iPhone with Apple AirPlay, or if you have an Android, you will need to connect your charging cable to the Carpuride's USB port. Quick tip! I had to turn on file transfer to get auto-link mirroring to work for me. And while your phone is plugged into the Carpuride, it will also charge your phone, which is really nice because older cars like this one don't have any USB charging ports. Watching videos with USB and TF. You can actually watch videos and listen to music from a USB drive or a TF card. Note that it is illegal to play videos while you're driving in most states and countries. So just do it while you're parked. Suction test. Carpuride says that this will stay mounted even while you're going over speed bumps, making sharp turns, and driving over railroad tracks. So let's test that out. Speed bumps? Check. Sharp turns? Check. Railroad tracks? Check. I have actually had this suction mounted to my dash for a couple of weeks now, and it is still super strong. I've even left it out in the hot sun for hours at a time, and it's still just as stable as ever. Compatibility. Wired Android Auto works on any Android phone with Android 8.0 Oreo and higher. Wireless Android Auto works on any phone running Android 11 and even some phones running Android 10 and 9. Apple CarPlay works on any iPhone 5 or newer, and Apple AirPlay mirroring works with any iPhone running iOS 11.4 or later. And the Carpuride operates on both 2.4 GHz and 5 GHz Wi-Fi, and you can change this in the Carpuride settings. Price. The Carpuride is priced at $235, but you can get it for $199 if you use the code Survival Superhero when you check out. Check the description below for a direct link to that. And there's also a larger 9-inch display version that comes with a backup camera, and it is priced at $260, but you can get it for $221 when you use the code Survival Superhero at checkout. Check the description for a link to that as well. And Carpuride does offer a 30-day money-back guarantee. They say if you don't like it for any reason, you can get a full refund. And they also offer a 2-year warranty, free shipping, and they have really great customer support as well. Pros and cons. Pros. This is the easiest way to use an infotainment system in an older car. It is cheaper than most other options. It works with both Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. It sounds great through the car speakers. The display is nice and large, and it's easy to glance down really quickly and see it while you're driving. It is definitely bright enough to see even in direct sunlight. The suction is super strong and it stays put even in the hot sun. It's a great way to listen to music on Spotify, Pandora, YouTube, and more. And the screen and video quality is super crisp and clear. Cons. The wire hanging down to the cigarette lighter is kinda tacky. Now, I didn't have a problem with it, but you could do some cable management wizardry to hide the cable if that is an issue for you. The adhesive on the dash mounts did not work for me. One of them would not stay put at all, and the other did work for a little while, but it did not hold up after being in the hot sun for a couple hours. But the suction did work really great with no problems, so it doesn't really matter. I just wanted to point that out. And the plastic material that it's all made from could be stronger, but I will say I did drop this thing on the ground a couple of times on accident, and it still works just fine. So what's the bottom line? If you've got an older car and you want to bring it up to date with GPS navigation, hands-free calls, music, podcasts, and more, you should definitely try the Carpuride. It is much better than buying a dash or windshield mount for your phone, and it costs less and is much easier to install than other units. Plus, there's a 30-day money-back guarantee. So, what do you think about the Carpuride? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Please share this video if you found it helpful, and then you can click right here for another great tech review video, and I will see you there.